Hello guys, how are you doing today? I'm sure you're doing great. Now I have a demonstration to show you right now. Are you ready? Let's go. Yeah, so over here I have a plastic bottle in my hand. I'm sure you can see that. Now this plastic bottle has a certain shape and size. Fair enough. Now over here I have another bottle. But if I press this, inward like this is not a plastic bottle anymore, but just a piece of junk. So the question is, what changed the shape of the plastic bottle from this to this? Or in other words, what caused the deformation in the shape of the plastic bottle? So in this video, let's explore that. The term deformation in physics refers to the change in shape or size of an object by either an applied force or by a change in temperature. So in simple words, when you deform an object, you change either its shape or its size or both. And the two ways of causing this deformation is either by applying a force or by heating the object. So I hope the definition of deformation and what causes it are clear to you. So let's go back to our plastic bottle once again. Now here you can see that because we held the bottle in our hands and we compressed it, we basically applied a force on the bottle's body, which ended up deforming its shape. So in this particular case, force was the reason for the deformation in the bottle. On the other hand, if we would have heated the plastic bottle, you would observe that we'll once again get a deformation. But this time, the reason for deformation would be the heat supplied and not the force. So once again, I reiterate the fact that deformations in the shape of a body can be either caused by a force or by heat. Now, because we are primarily talking about forces throughout this chapter, we'll be ignoring the deformations caused by heat and only be focusing on the deformations caused by various types of forces. So I'd like you to pause the video here, take a moment and think about some events from our daily life where you see deformations happening. Take a moment and think about it. So, are you done with your list? Well, I'm done. And after looking at the fate of the plastic bottle, I think the next example that comes to my mind is nothing but the soda can. Yes. So as you can see, the soda can also has a particular shape and size. But if we hold it in our hands and we compress it, once again you will see that the can will end up getting deformed. Yeah. So over here you can see we had a can and now what we have is junk. So this deformation in the shape of the can is caused by the muscular force applied by my hand. Okay, so what's the next item on your list? Well, on my list, the next item is the rubber band. Yes, now to deform or stretch a rubber band, all you need to do is use both your hands and pull the rubber band apart. And you can see that the rubber band easily gets stretched or easily gets deformed. But what's interesting about a rubber band is that unlike the soda can, the rubber band gains its shape back again once we stop applying the excess force. And if we apply the excess force once again, the rubber band deforms once again. So this ability of rubber band to stretch or deform easily and also to gain its shape back again easily makes it a very useful object in our daily lives. Also, here you can see that the deformation in the rubber band was caused by the muscular force applied by our hands. Great. What else? Well, how about deforming a tennis ball? Yes. By holding a tennis ball tightly in your hand, or in other words, by compressing a ball, you can get a shape deformation in the tennis ball. But hey, that's not the classy way of deforming a tennis ball. The classy way to do it would be to play an actual game of tennis with it. Are you confused? Let me show it to you. So here you can see a fast tennis ball approaching towards the racket. Now when the racket strikes the ball, you can see a major deformation happening in the shape of the ball. Take a good look at it. Cool. The next example on my list is the rope that is used for tightrope walking. Now if you have seen a person walking on the tightrope before, You may have noticed a dip that forms wherever the person rests his or her footstep. Now, this dip or the trough that forms is basically a deformation in the shape of the rope, right? And this deformation is caused due to the weight of the person walking on the rope. So, can you tell me which force is responsible for this deformation? Well, it's the force of gravity. The force of gravity pulls the person down, which in turn applies a force on the tightrope downwards. And this downward force creates a dip or a deformation in the shape of the rope. So in this example, the force of gravity is the reason for the deformation in the tightrope. Now my list has a lot more examples present in it. But if I discuss them all right now, it will take a lot of time. So I'll just show you some other examples that I've collected of deformations that we see in our daily lives. And here they are. So guys, that's it for today. I hope you had a good time learning about the concept of deformation and the forces that cause them. Now, I want to end this video by making a small but very important point, and you need to pay all your attention to it. Are you ready? Let's go. So, in the previous videos, we saw that a force can make a resting body move, or a force can make a moving body come to rest. A force can also change the speed and direction of a moving object. Now it's time to add one more point to this list, and that is that a force is capable of causing deformations in the shape of a body. So this completes the list of things that a force is capable of doing, and I hope you'll always remember this. Now in the next video, we'll talk about the magnitude and the direction of force, and we'll see what do we mean by these fancy terms. For now, let's summarize what we learned so far. Deformation refers to the change in shape or size of an object due to an applied force or due to a change in temperature. So in simple words, a body can be deformed by either applying a force on it or by heating it. There are numerous examples of deformations caused by an applied force. Some of those examples are the deformation of a plastic bottle by an applied muscular force, the deformation of a soda can by an applied muscular force, the deformation of a rubber band by an applied muscular force, the deformation of a tennis ball by an applied force by the racket or by an applied muscular force from the palm, and finally, the deformation of a tightrope when a tightrope walker walks on it. A force is capable of making a resting body move. A force is also capable of making a moving body come to rest. A force is capable of changing the speed and direction of a moving object. And finally, a force is capable of deforming the shape of an object.